So I'd like to go way back to the very beginning. What was going through your mind?
I was ecstatic. Woke up that morning, I couldn't wait to get to the doctor's office as fast as possible. Little backstory: we have two girls, and I was going for my boy.
Because I was an older mom, part of the routine of my doctor's visits was that I had to get genetic testing. After we found out that the possibility of Down syndrome was going to be a potential situation for us, it was devastating. I didn't know what that meant.
Just denial. No, there's something wrong. Let's do the test again. This can't be right.
I started Googling, what Down syndrome meant, what are some of the potential hurdles that we would come across. Everything was a worst case scenario, and I think that's where my mind went. And I think our mindset just shifted to, we just have to take it day by day.
When Eva was born, it was right at the time when COVID was at its peak. 2020, everything was shutting down. Issues with her lungs, issues with her heart. At one point, they were only allowing one parent at a time to see Eva. We made every moment last.
The hospital nurses had to show us how to take care of her while she was in the hospital because she was hooked up to all of these different machines.
Say hi, Sissy. Tell her you love her.
Even though we had two children prior, you think you know everything. This is a whole brand new world. Okay, start from square one. All right, what are we gonna do next? What's our plan of action to navigate through this journey that we're about to embark on?
We did feel scared. We felt alone. And I think part of that stemmed from us not knowing anybody with Down syndrome before. We had no idea what that meant for her life. We had no idea who to turn to. I first heard about Brighton Center long before Eva was even born. So around 2018, I worked for a local corporation, and we ended up putting an initiative together where we were going to go out into community and help different nonprofits in town. Little did I know, in 2020, I was going to come back and hear that name again. When her first ECI provider went off her insurance, I had to look for a second ECI provider. So I went back to that packet that I was handed at the hospital, and now here I was as a parent using their services.
She's only 6 months old. What therapies can you do with a 6-month-old? But when they came in, I saw the little things they did. It was normal, but it was a little different at the same time.
They would teach me how to do them so that way whenever they left the home, I would still be able to help with her growth and development when I was at home with her. I saw Eva's development grow tremendously during that time frame, crawling, pulling herself up, strengthen her body, strengthen her core. Not only did I feel hope for Eva's development, but I also felt like I found a community. I felt like there was somebody that I can talk to about my concerns, my worries, and it was just nice to have somebody to talk to about that.
It gave me that extra boost of confidence that I know that I could help her, navigate through, whatever challenges she's going to be facing.
Go, jump.
I was fortunate enough to be able to be at home with her for a pretty significant period of time at the beginning of her life. So that was till about 18 months. I knew I was going to have to look for daycares that would accept a child with Down syndrome. I had never had to navigate that before. And so I was actually talking to one of her therapists about if she knew of any options, and she is the one that told me about the Brighton Center Preschool. They allow the parent to be there with them for the first couple of days, so it's not just a drop off, see you later situation. So I thought that was really great. As a parent, I felt comfortable learning about what environment Eva was going to be in. They showed me what the routine was going to look like. And so on the third day when I dropped her off, she was already used to the environment. And so it made me feel comfortable knowing that she was going to be happy there. I think one of the biggest things that I noticed is The student to teacher ratio was low, and I knew she would not get that at any other daycare. I also saw children of different abilities just playing with each other, and I just think that's a beautiful thing. Just that inclusive piece. Everyone is seeing each other as friends. They don't see any diagnosis, and it's just everyone's on the same playing field. They would teach her executive functioning, like washing her hands. They would help her also with her just daily life skills.
What she was learning at Brighton, we can actually see the change day by day.
You did it! I did! Let's do it again.
When Eva turned 4 years old, we wanted to try to put her in the local preschool program. And that's when I had to start looking at different daycares outside of Brighton Center. I remember calling 3 daycares specifically, and even though they told me that they would be okay with it, I could hear the hesitancy in their voice, and it just made me feel uncomfortable, which is something that I hadn't experienced at Brighton before. It shocked me that other parents have to go through this if they don't know Brighton Center. We finally found one that said, yes, we'll work with her. That lasted about 1 week.
Right off the bat, we knew we had made a wrong decision. The changes we saw were almost automatic when Eva made the switch from Brighton to the other daycare.
I immediately called Brighton Center to see if they still had her spot open, and fortunately they did.
They were like, oh, we can't wait, bring her tomorrow.
Eva, can you say hello?
I just saw a different level of care at Brighton Center, and that's really what she needed for her to thrive. The therapist would actually go into her classroom and just help her and go into her environment, getting ready for kindergarten. She learned colors, she learned her letters, teaching her basically everything that she would learn at school, and prepped her for an easy transition to kindergarten.
If I could keep her in Brighton for the rest of her life, I would. I know we're always going to have ties to Brighton, everything they've done for Eva, for our family.
Go! Wow, you did it!
We were very sad to be leaving. She graduated from the Brighton Preschool. It was a very bittersweet moment for me. She had been part of the Brighton family for almost her entire upbringing.
We know she was going to go into a general population kindergarten, with other students that they're not in the world of childs with disabilities. So she's going to be different. She's going to be the different one.
When Meet the Teacher came around, we talked to the teacher, and one of the students in the class sees Eva coming through the door, and I just hear him saying, "Hey, that's Eva." And it's one of the students that was in her class at Brighton Center. Just having that feeling of familiarity really helped.
She's doing great. The staff is great there. They work with her. We have a great plan. We had our ARD meeting.
We did invite a Brighton Center advocate to sit at the table with us, and it was amazing. They brought the knowledge that we didn't know we needed. They threw out a lot of terms that parents don't know, and having a Brighton Center advocate with us that brings a breadth of knowledge with just special education advocacy was amazing. We felt supported in every way. They were able to help us ask for some things that we didn't know to ask for. So right now she is in an essential academics classroom separate from her general classroom. So she hops in and out between those 2 classrooms. So she does have exposure to typically developing students, but she also gets that one-on-one support, which is essentially what she needs to thrive. I feel confident that she's doing great and that she's loving her environment.
We're thankful for Brighton and everything they did for Eva to prepare her for the next step.
The Chief Development Officer, Sarah, knew what my professional experience was. We had a lot of mutual friends. And so she asked if I would consider joining the Brighton Center team. Talking about Brighton Center's mission, it's so personal to me because we've lived it.
Let's go get it.
Every time I come across parents that don't know what Brighton is or what Brighton offers, I just want to tell them all about it because they truly helped us navigate Eva's life.
My message for the whole Brighton family is thank you. You've made a huge impact on our lives, on Eva's life. And we could not be more grateful for everything that they've done for Eva, for everything
Brighton Center does have a community of champions behind us, and to them, I would just like to say thank you. I honestly feel that if Brighton Center wasn't in our lives, that Eva would have gone through her formative years being forgotten. And now Eva has grown so much, and she can be herself. In a world constantly trying to put her in a box, our community of supporters allow us to change that narrative. And for us as a family, it has just changed Eva's life.